Another confirmed case of the measles, this time in Davis County, where the person visited while contagious, so you know if you were exposed. The highly anticipated opening of Utah ski resorts, what resort officials are saying about the uncooperative winter weather. A negative reaction online over the recently unveiled Utah 2034 Olympic logo. What the artist who designed the logo says about the discourse.
Live and streaming, this is KSL News Now.
And thanks so much for being with us for KSL News Now. I'm Lori Pritchard. We're going to get to those stories in just a bit. But first, Deja Brown has been following traffic back and forth this morning. It's been really busy for you. And Matt Johnson, busy as well, because we could see some snow showers later on this afternoon.
Yes, we will. And again, it's not a huge storm, just like the one over the weekend, but it will be enough to put down a little bit of valley snow. And that moves in later today. So most of today is going to be cloud cover, cold, but by later afternoon and evening hours, we'll likely see some valley snow out of this thing that could persist into tomorrow morning. Another storm system follows as we head into Saturday. That one is warmer in nature, but carries a little bit more moisture with it. So I like the trade-off. 23 in Cedar City, 32 in St. George. We've got a 33 in Provo. The snow you're seeing here behind these numbers, it isn't much, right? Radar a little more ominous than what's actually happening. There are some snow flurries noted, but not a lot really accumulating. Hourly forecast, 34 to start at 7 a.m. Cloud cover. The clouds stay thick through the lunch hour, 41. We'll likely top out around 42. And then I've got some showers working in here late afternoon and into the overnight. Coming up in just a few, we're going to check in on storm zone and how that looks on the map coming up.
Thank you so much, Matt. Okay, a traffic alert to tell you about. Much of the morning, we've been following the residual effects of an early morning vehicle crash and then vehicle fire. It's southbound Mountain View corridor at 41st South. It is currently closed right now due to crews trying to get it out of the way. Now, locally, you will see the closure between 41st South and 54th South. So if you need to travel southbound along the Mountain View corridor, you're going to need to take 54th South. Now, let's talk about congestion on the rest of our corridors. I-15 northbound, take a look at this. This is as you travel through Draper near 115th South, seeing those lanes packed this morning. Now, haven't seen reports of any crashes along this stretch, but we're definitely starting to see some congestion out there. So this is the only crash that we have working. Again, that's on the southbound side of Mountain View corridor. It's closed between 41st South and 54th South, so take that into account as you're heading out the door.
All right, Deja, thank you. Well, after weeks without snow, our recent storm over the weekend now helping some ski resorts open up this week. Brighton Ski Resort opening today. Several more are expected to follow later on. News specialist Brian Carlson live at Big Cottonwood Canyon. All right, did you bring your skis with you?
I got the coat, right? That's halfway there, Lori. I mean, you got to get started somewhere, right? And I think there's a lot of skiers and snowboarders that are probably a lot more prepared than I am. They're going to be heading up the mountain anytime here this morning to be able to head up for Brighton's opening day. And by the end of the week, we'll see the same thing at 3 more Utah ski resorts. Now, to say that Brighton is having a late start to the season would be an understatement. Opening up on December 2nd. For Brighton, it is the latest opening day since the 1970s. Staff at Brighton say they usually open up by Thanksgiving weekend, but so far winter weather has not necessarily cooperated. Still, they are excited to open and they are hopeful to build on the current conditions in the days and weeks ahead.
And it's been long awaited, a little slower start than we're used to, but we're going to make the best of it. It'll be majority of man-made snow and encourage people to stay on the man-made snow and let the natural stuff settle a bit.
Now, of course, they'd like some more snow, so they're hoping the storms keep coming. And right now, Brighton and Solitude, just down the mountain, are the only ski resorts in northern Utah who are open for ski season. Brian Head, the only one open in southern Utah. Now, as for the other resorts, you've got Alta, Park City, Snow Basin. They're all opening up on Friday. And then next week, Nordic Valley, Powder Mountain, so it's really starting to snowball, whether you have the skis or not. There, Lori, back to you.
Yeah, you're missing something this morning. At least you have your coat and your gloves and your earmuffs. Yeah.
Right.
Just grab your pass.
Right.
Thanks, Brian.
Somewhere.
Well, as many go to hit the slopes this morning, there's also a looming danger. This weekend's storm triggering some avalanche activity in Utah mountains, including one that's being blamed on a coyote. Utah Avalanche Center shared these pictures of a slide in Little Cottonwood Canyon. Forecasters say they discovered animal tracks near the trigger point. They believe a coyote might have caused that slide. This is just one of several avalanches reported since this weekend's storm. And as the snow starts to pile up in the mountains, the Utah Avalanche Center says it's a perfect time for the 7th Annual Avalanche Awareness Week. The center says it's all about outreach, education, and hands-on training.
If we live near an ocean, we got to figure out about tides and about waves and about ocean safety. We live near avalanche terrain, so avalanche education is imperative.
The kickoff included avalanche rescue drills, first aid practice as well. The week will end with the 18th Utah Snow and Avalanche Workshop at Wasatch Junior High. You can find tickets to that event on the Utah Avalanche Center's website. We have new information this morning in the wrong way crash that killed 2 teenagers, and we're learning more about a failure with the state's wrong way alert systems. Investigations are underway into the suspected wrong way driver, 21-year-old Jose Angel Torres Jimenez, who is accused of driving under the influence. But there's another separate investigation into the state's wrong way alert system, which failed to notify troopers and unsuspecting drivers.
It's not a perfect system, and it's technology, and we're going to look to see why, in this case, our operators at the TOC weren't notified.
UDOT says they're working with the company that provides this wrong way direction service to find out if this was a recalibration issue. They say there have been 12 wrong way driver crashes this year, causing 7 deaths. In Utah County this morning, police are investigating a large-scale rooster fighting bust that happened in Provo. It happened over the weekend when police say they received a tip about illegal animal fighting on a property near 1200 West and 6 South. When officers arrived, they found nearly 400 live roosters, along with several dozen that were dead. 17 people were arrested, with potential charges for some including aggravated animal cruelty. The suspects come from all over Utah and one from California. When police raided that area, several others fled the scene. Investigators say that after interviewing some of those arrested, as many as 100 people may have been there when officers arrived. This investigation is still ongoing. It's not yet clear if more arrests will be made. Right now, paid signature gatherers are drawing some concern in the effort to overturn Utah's current congressional maps.
The way the judge gerrymandered the map, we want to reverse what she did.
KSL found 2 outside of the DMV in Taylorsville, and while they didn't have the full text of the efforts to repeal Proposition 4, they did seem to know the history of this ballot measure and how the current measure would give state legislators back the power to draw those congressional maps. They also said that they're paid by the group Utahns for Representative Government and were from New York. Robert Axon, chair for the Utah Republican Party, says in addition to paid gatherers, many volunteers are also involved.
Well, so ultimately, when you're gathering signatures, when you're engaging with voters, it's an expensive process. We are raising funds to make sure that we have the resources necessary to communicate to the people of Utah.
More than 150,000 signatures are needed to get the measure on the ballot. Those also need to be spread across 26 of the state's 29 Senate districts. Anyone that signed, maybe changes their mind, will also have the option to have your name removed at a later point in the process if this measure advances.
All right, checking in on that weather. We've got a beautiful sunrise happening in Cedar City, some cloud cover and some color showing up as that sun starts to peer over the tops of the mountains of Utah. And there is some snow flurries north of Cedar City. You're noticing out here towards Nephi. Folks, this radar is way more ominous than what we're actually seeing hit the ground. Fillmore, you've got some flurries in the area. And out east, Grand County, Highway 6 and I-70, all the way up into the southeastern portion of the Uinta Basin. Cedar City to your north and west, a couple of light flurries being picked up on radar. Current temperature is in the 30s. Your afternoon high will top in the 50s, St. George. You've got rain, snow showers across the Wasatch Front. That's going to come later today. Let me walk you through it hour by hour. When to plan for the precip. It's all coming up, Deja.
Sounds great, Matt. Thanks so much. Well, southbound Mountain View corridor remains shut down at 41st South after an earlier crash, and we are starting to see some of those delays building in both directions. Let's go ahead and talk about the I-15 corridor. You're looking great coming out of Utah County. Going to be, I would say, about 24 minutes as you travel near Bangor in the Draper area, up to 6 south in Salt Lake City, because we are seeing just a little small fraction of some congestion that's building in the northbound lanes. Thankfully, still dealing with not much out of Lake Point, our usual congestion. Just factor in an additional 5 to 6 minutes worth of added drive time if you're going to be traveling eastbound I-80. And then, of course, that usual congestion on the west belt of I-215 southbound between I-80 and the 201 due to some lane restrictions there because of ongoing construction.
All right, thank you, Deja. In other headlines that we're following this morning, the Davis County Health Department urging residents to get the measles vaccine after confirming an infection in an adult. We've listed on your screen all of the places that person visited while they were infectious. The department says measles can linger in the air for up to 2 hours after an infected person leaves. If you believe you were exposed, you can watch for symptoms for 21 days. Those can include fever, cough, runny nose, watery eyes, and a rash. Happening right now, the San Juan County Sheriff's Office is scaling back the search for beloved artists last seen nearly a week ago. The Sheriff's Office says Joseph Paychok was supposed to meet friends at a cafe in Bluff last Tuesday, but he never showed. He was also set to attend 2 different Thanksgiving dinners, but didn't. First responders and everyday citizens have searched the Bluff area, but have yet to turn up any sign of him. The Sheriff's Office says right now foul play is not suspected in his disappearance. Paychok is described as an avid outdoorsman, but not telling people where he is going. Well, his friends say that's out of character. He's well known for the Bluff's annual winter solstice event, where he creates life-size effigies that are set on fire, as you see right there. He was even featured in a Voice of America documentary. Anyone with information on where he could be should call the San Juan County Sheriff's Office. A 4-day school week is on the table for students in the Iron County School District. Board members believe it will help them generate enough money to build new schools for growing communities. This 4-day week would add about a half an hour to each school day and cut just over 8 hours over the course of the year. The district says they're still in the information gathering stage and they're asking for input. They'll be holding 3 town halls across the district tonight at 6. All meetings will be live streamed. A Southern Utah high school is trying to combat students' math anxiety, and a number of them are discovering math, it's really not that scary. Hurricane High School is adopting a program called Building Thinking Classrooms. It emphasizes collaboration, real-world problem solving, and perseverance. The method involves students working in small groups to achieve what the school calls an active engagement type strategy. Hurricane High School's principal tells the Deseret News this has bumped up participation and math scores, because that's the goal, right? In consumer headlines this morning, the U.S. and the U.K. have reached a tariff deal that would exempt pharmaceuticals. Under the terms of this deal, the U.K. will increase the net price its government pays for new drugs by 25% and guarantees to not lower those prices. In exchange, the UK won't have to pay tariffs on pharmaceuticals sent to the U.S. for the duration of the Trump administration. The White House says the deal will help drive investment and innovation in both countries. There's a sense of a shrinkflation going on right now during the holiday season. U.S. consumers are paying more, but we're getting less. Analysts say online shopping in the U.S. rose by 3% on Black Friday, but say that was caused by hikes in prices. Order volume, which tallies how much was purchased in a certain amount of time, dropped 1% compared to Black Friday the year before. Salesforce says historic tariff increases are a large factor in pricier products.
All right, checking in on a Travel Tuesday with you. Don't miss out on those deals. Got your sunset from last night. It was gorgeous. Brandon Bates out of Centerville with the credit. As you looked out towards the Salt Lake marshlands and, of course, the Great Salt Lake, just that sliver of water that's being shown there. Yes, we need more of that water, and it comes in the form of snowpack, right? The winter snowpack melts and contributes to that basin. We're going to try to get things going with this low. He'll slide in later today, producing a couple of snow showers, maybe some rain mixed in. This is 5 p.m. today, afternoon and evening. It'll continue to slide south into the overnight. This is midnight, and you've got snow showers through San Pete and Sevier Valleys. It continues to drop southward into this Four Corners area. That's Wednesday at 9 a.m. Tomorrow afternoon, it's out of here. I mean, I've got dry skies, snow flurries in the mountains. It's nothing too special. Here's a look at totals as we take them through Wednesday morning. So today through tomorrow morning, trace to an inch for the northern valleys. The benches in the Wasatch Back about 1 to 4, depending on your elevation. Northern Mountains 3 to 6. The Cottonwoods, hey, they're going to do the best, but not a big storm for their standards, 4 to 8. And the Central Mountains 1 to 3. Central Utah, maybe a flurry for Nephi and Manti. That's likely later today. South of I-70, it's a dry one. 40s for highs generally, 51 in St. George. Up in the north, cloudy skies for majority of today, and then it's a rain-snow mix at lowest elevations by evening. The higher elevations, Morgan, Park City, even up there towards Logan, it's probably all going to fall as snow. St. George, 51 to 49 to 51. Not much movement over the next 3. Then we're going to go for 50s for daytime highs, up near 60 Saturday and Sunday as we get a little bit of high pressure nudging in from the Pacific. Wasatch Front, you got a 42 rain, snow, showers. Again, that's second half of the day. So I got the PM icon there. Lingering into tomorrow morning will be some snow showers, 39 tomorrow afternoon. Cloud cover will likely start to break as well. Cold on Thursday, but dry, 41 on Friday. We've got mostly cloudy skies. Saturday, valley rain and mountain snow. And that second system on Friday you're seeing on the 7-day here actually has more water with it. So I think that mountain snowfall might be a little more beneficial. Deja?
All right, Matt, thanks so much. Well, we are dealing with a new crash for you. We have 2 crashes, actually, both I-15 in Weber County at Riverdale Road. You have one that is on the southbound side that is blocking your left shoulder right now. And we just have a new one that happened on the northbound side that's blocking your right shoulder. So give yourself some extra time as you're heading out. We are starting to see some congestion build, of course, as we approach the 7:30 half hour. Still dealing with that closure, though, southbound along Mountain View Corridor between 41st South and 54th South. Otherwise, we are in the clear, just seeing that usual congestion as you travel through the Draper area. Other than that, not seeing any major issues on the rest of our arteries. So let's take a closer look into Davis County. This is where we're starting to see that congestion, like I mentioned, on the southbound side of I-15. That coupled with the normal congestion is making for a slow ride. Thankfully, once you pass this point here, you are good. So as you travel from Ogden down to Farmington, which should usually be about a 19-minute ride, now about a 26-minute ride, Lori.
All right, Deja, thank you. An LA-based indie rocker band will headline next year's Ogden Twilight Series. Mount Joy sold out their performance during Salt Lake City's Twilight Series earlier this year. It's one of 2 events that sold out for the band in the Salt Lake area. This announcement of their return to Utah comes well ahead of the announcement for other headliners. Those are typically announced in the spring. Right now, tickets are $125 and will go up when more bands are announced. In sports headlines this morning, a big one, BYU headed to the Big 12 title game to play Texas Tech. But his head coach, Kalani Sitake, headed to Penn State to coach the Nittany Lions. Well, Penn State fired their coach, James Franklin, midseason back in October. Now, multiple reports say Sitake is the school's top target. This is what he said during a press conference on Monday to address the rumors.
I have to address it because the world is small now and people can see stuff on social media and everything. And you guys do a great job at covering things. And so, yeah, I'll address it. But I also, they're used to me saying, hey, this is a good sign, that things are going well for us.
Well, he says this isn't about him, but because his team is winning. However, he also says this has been a big distraction ahead of BYU's showdown with Texas Tech. And BYU fans headed down to the Big 12 championship football game this weekend. They're getting some more transportation options. Utah-based Breeze Airways says that it has added nonstop service to Dallas-Fort Worth on Friday, December 5th and Sunday, December 7th. They say these nonstop flights give BYU fans an easier and more convenient way to travel to the big game from Provo. The logo for the 2034 Winter Olympic Games in Salt Lake City receiving a lot of negative attention online. KSL spoke exclusively with the artist behind that design, who says she hopes the more people learn about it, the more they'll connect with it. For example, the A in Utah is shaped for delicate arch, and the curve inside the 0 comes from petroglyphs designs.
Professional, it's important to take note of all of the subjective comments, but at the same time, come at it from a neutral perspective, because that's how we deliver our best work.
Well, this isn't the final design because Los Angeles 2028 controls all U.S. Olympic branding right now until their games are complete. Utah can only use a temporary one. In 2029, we'll see a different version.
A live camera looking over the Salt Lake Valley. You'll love to see those hillsides with the white stuff on them. We want to get more of it in the mountains and in the valleys, and we may just do that. You got cloud cover right now that looks threatening. A couple of snow flurries earlier this morning. Those have now moved through central Utah. They're not amounting to much, but temperatures are cold statewide. Even St. George looking at 32 right now, 30 in Logan and 36 in Salt Lake. Your forecast for the bus stop. Kids getting ready for school, well, dress them warm. I've got a 34 for the drop-off. Recess is 41. We'll top somewhere in the low 40s today. And it's cloudy through most of the school time hours. But as you get into the late afternoon and evening, that's when I think we'll see some snow showers start to move in. Deja?
Thanks so much, Matt. Okay, we are watching some action I-15 at Riverdale Road in both directions. Northbound, you have a crash that is blocking your right shoulder. Southbound, you have a crash that is blocking your left shoulder, and we are seeing some heavy delays building on the approach. So give yourself some extra time along this stretch. Now, as you travel southbound I-15, we're looking relatively quiet once you get to the Farmington area into North Salt Lake, and then as you travel into the downtown Salt Lake City area. Westbound of I-215 southbound, just watch out for some congestion on your approach to I-80. Here's a live look at some of your live drive times. And as you're heading out, don't forget we are still dealing with a crash southbound Mountain View corridor that has your lanes currently closed at 41st South. Lori, I'll go ahead and send it over to you.
All right, Deja, thanks for watching that for us. Well, we are officially headed into the holiday season, and some Utah fourth graders got to celebrate in a really special way. Those students from Tremont helped decorate the Christmas tree at the governor's mansion. It's part of an annual tradition at the mansion. Utah First Lady Abby Cox says the mansion was donated by a couple that helped build the state's first orphanage and the Cathedral of the Madeleine. She says it has a rich history with children.
This is the people's house. The mansion is so fun to be in at Christmas time, but this really is a time to share the mansion with kiddos.
The theme at the mansion is looking up, a season of wonder. Draper City kicked off the Christmas season with its annual tree lighting ceremony. Residents gathering to share in the holiday cheer and see the moment these lights kicked on. Wow. You hear all the oohs and ahs. Draper Park now decked out with more than 3 million lights that have been placed on trees throughout the park. If you missed the ceremony last night, you can still see the lights every night from 5 to 10 and every morning from 5 to 8 through January 1st. There's also a similar site in St. George right there. The city held its kickoff to Christmas in historic Town Square. The event also included choir performances and a special visit from Santa and Mrs. Claus. Well, that does it for us on this Tuesday morning. A live look to downtown Salt Lake City. We'd flip on the lights, but the sun is coming up, so Mother Nature is doing it for us. Have a great day, everyone.